Hello, dear friends, and today I am going to continue for explanation of what is the innate immunity. Uh, Innate immunity is also called or is known as native immunity. It is resistance to the infection that an individual process by the virtues of his or her genetics and constitutional makeup. Okay, it is not affected by the pro contact with the MCO and immunization. It may be again specific or non-specific. Specific particularly to the specific pathogen. Non-specific is when it is, indicates degrees of the resistance to the infectious in generally. Okay. Innate immunity is again classified on the basis of the uh, species and races or individual. Started from the disease. Species means entire human species is the resistance to the plenty pathogen. Mechanism is not clearly understood. Okay, racial immunity is particularly races of that species resistant. Example, Negrot. It means racial means different types of racials like Asian, American, African, this type of racial related. Okay, they have different types of ability, immunity ability for the resistant to specific antigens. For example, in US species in US is more US species are more prone to the TB than Caucasian species. Okay. Now, it is up to individuals' evidence from the study on the twins, similar degrees of the resistance and susceptibility to the TB or lipoprotein. Now, it is a study on the individual. Okay, study on the two twins. Twins, similar, the twins series individuals have more similar degrees of the resistance ability and susceptibility to the according to the Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Mycobacterium leprosy. Okay, they have a very similar immunity. The factors for the influence the levels of innate immunity. First of all, it is first is age. Okay, very old or very young more susceptible to the infectious disease. You can see when they are very young, the unit and um, unit infants they have a very low ability immunity because they are not well developed their immunity, and only at that time their mother's antibody will you have for the protection the baby from the foreign particles like IgG. We know that they have only five types of antibodies many, and which is produced by plasma cell, which IgG is only antigen antibodies which is can cross through the placenta. Okay, which is protect the fetus infants from the foreign invasions. Then very old people's when you become a very advanced aged, then what will be every your immunity will be uh, become decreases, ability will become decreases, and susceptibility also will be decreased, so chances of the infection will be increases. Okay, example, hepatitis B virus infection is asymptomatic in newborns because at that time what we need mechanism of experience of the disease. When the hepatitis B virus infection is asymptomatic in a newborn because it lacks developed immune mechanism. Okay, that is why to experience the disease. Second is hormones. Hormones dependence. Hormones like factor endocrine disorders such as diabetes mellitus, hypothyroidism, and adrenal dysfunctions, which are the mainly enhance the susceptibility to the infection. Okay, they will majority factor for the infection. The increase second increase the corticosteroid with if they will decrease the anti-inflammatory effect. Okay, nutrition, this how everybody usually this know it's how important of nutrition in the uh, case in immunity also. If you have good nutrition, your immune cells will be well sustain and well response to the uh, foreign invasions, foreign particles, okay, foreign antigens. So it will can be very low, infections. Then, of course, it is a series. The lines of the defense. They have two lines. First line and second line. First line intact when the antigen is intact with skin and mucus, prevent the entry of the microbes. When the antigens into to the or interact with our skin or mucus, what will be our antibody and our innate immunity will try to prevent the attack to our body. Okay, this is first line. Second line is the when the anti microbial proteins, anti-microbial protein phagocytes will, and other cells will be active. When second line, when they are for example, the antigens attack to our skin as well as, for example, another endothelium as well as a mucous cell, epithelial cell, then what will happen? At that time, our immune is uh, phagocytes and other neutrophils will be active to fight back to the foreign invasion by the antigens. Okay, this is second line. Now, mechanism of innate immunity is epithelial cell surface. Okay, antibacterial substance in blood and tissues. When the antibacterial substance produced in the blood and tissues. Okay, microbial antagonisms and cellular factors in innate immunity will act, and then inflammation take place. So it's a just response. Okay, then what will the fever uh, will occur, because this is main mechanism to increase the temperature for the heat up and killing the foreign particles. Okay, acute phase protein also produce. Now in the first line, what will happen? Skin. Okay, healthy skin with bacterial cidal property present, like a higher concentration of salt in dried seaweed and sebaceous secretions, and a long chain fatty acid also present. Soup contributed. Then second is for in the case in the respiratory mucosa, the severely innate immune mechanism also develop present. For example, noise anatomy, what present prevent of the interior of the MCO and dust particles. Okay, noise anatomy, turbinate the hairs. They will try to pick. Then mucosa lining like respiratory tract like uh, sweep back to the pharynxes. When if any antigens into our respiratory tract, they have some mechanisms which is sweep back the foreign particle to the pharynxes. Okay, then we can spill it out. Mucose polysaccharide, mucose polysaccharide which help with the stick of the MCO, foreign particles to the lane. Pulmonary alveoli is present with what phagocytic cells present, which is mainly to eat in the foreign particles and kill them. Okay. Now, antibacterial substance in blood tissue, when the several substance having the antibacterial properties are present in the nature in blood. Okay, for example, beta lysine, which is the thermostable substance active against the anthrax and related bacilli. Okay, second, bacilli polypeptides like leucines from the leukocytes and the plankins from the platelets and lactic acid which is muscle tissues and inflammatory zones. Okay, secret lactoperoxidase like protein in the milk, but concept is not clear. Interferons is activated against the viral infections. Now macro antagonism. uh, resistance, it's mainly discussed with bacterial flora. Okay, bacterial flora, what will happen? Bacterial flora, which is mainly our in our usually in our body, they have some many bacterial flora which is very useful to our body. For example, in GIT, they have some vitamin K is synthesized and produced by bacterial flora, and also give to our body for the vitamins. Okay, as well as same like this type many bacterial floras which is prevent another foreign bacteria to colonize in our body. Okay, the alternate in bacterial flora lead to the invasion by the extraneous microbes. Okay, followed by the oral antibiotics. Of course, serious disease like staphylococcus or clostridial enterocolitis. The cellular factors in innate immunity is phagocytic cells, for example, like macrophages and monocyte, as well as neutrophils. Okay, ingest what their function is ingest the particles, particularly matter, and MCO in response to the chemical mediator for the inflammation. Depletion of these cells what will have a chronic granulomatous disease will occur cause enhances the susceptibility to the infection. Okay, now of course one innate immunity only one leukocyte no lymphocyte participate is NK cell, which is a class of lymphocytes and non-specific defense against viral infection, which is mainly for the against viral infections and tumor cells. Okay, activated by the interferon activated for the D cell. Now you can see this figure very clearly. You can get the concepts here. For example, this is the macrophages and the antigens which is entry and which is phagocyte by the phagocytes. Okay, what will happen when it is a phagocyte by eating? Then into the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm present the lysosome. Lysosome produce some enzyme acid hydro less enzyme which is digested this antigens and dissolve. After that, what will happen? After that, the ingestibles and they will eat ingestible, otherwise residual metal is removed by the by process called exocytosis. Okay, by this way they killing the antigens. The inflammation, inflammation is a non-specific defense mechanism. All the series of the events occur in the inflammation plays in role in killing or inactivity MCO. Okay, fever is rising by body temperature, natural defense mechanism. It's actually it mainly like action is accelerate the physiological process and destroy the infection pathogens. It also stimulates the production of the interferon. You can see after the foreign antigens which is injury to our tissue, then what will happen? They have two pathway to response by the innate immunity. Like first is a release of chemical mediator and cytokines, interferons. Okay, they will as well histamine, complement, kinase, prostaglandin eating. Okay, another is direct release of the glucose cytosis induced factor. Okay, leukocytosis NK cell. This also this chemical mediators. Its mainly function is there are three pathways, three ways to it. First is the vasodilation of the arteriole. Second is increase the capillary permeability. Third is attract neutrophils and monocytes and lymphocytes to the area. Okay, this way. The local hyperemia is increase the blood flow in the area. At that time, what will happen? You see heat occur and redness occur because of the increases of oxygen and nutrition take place. Okay, heat is increased because increase the metabolism rate of the cell which increases. The second capillary permeability increases with at that time leakage of proteins rich fluid in the tissue space sites where the infection take places. Okay, that signs like pain and swelling and the possibility temperature limitation of the joint movement. Okay, after the result will be healing. And then by the leukocyte pathways migration to the injury of the same like margination leukocytes clean to the capillary walls, then diabetes occur. After that, phagocytes of the what pathogens and dead tissue cells, the what will be pus may be formed, and the area that cleared for the death deep rise after the will healing that infection. Okay, acute phase. Setting increase the plasma concentration of the center proteins collective called the aqueous. Okay, this at the time they have aqueous protein. They have different types. First is C reactive protein, manose binding protein, alpha 1 acid glycoprotein serum amyloid P component. Okay, active the alternative pathway disease, complements interferon pathways. Hence, the host resistance prevent tissue injury and promote repair of the inflammation to lesions. Now you can see interference action mainly this one. Okay, genetic that synthesize interference activity when the host cell is invaded by the virus. Interferon molecules leave the infected cells into the nerve cell. Interferon stimulate the nerve cells to active genes for the NK and RF. Interferon non-specific block viral main function is block the viral reproduction in the neighbor cell. You can see here virus entered to the cell. Then what will happen? The interferons genes turned on. Then what we synthesize the interferon molecules produced. After that, they will interferons are binded to the stimuli cells to the turns or genes of the antiviral protein, and the main purpose is for the block is the viral production. Okay, viral is production, the new virus production phases. When it is into to the our another cell, then at the time this interferon will block it this further reproductions. Okay, Interferon family is a family of related protein which is slightly different physiological effect. Okay, lymphocyte secrete gamma interferon, but also other WBC secrete alpha interferon as well. The fibroblasts secrete beta interferon, and interferons also active the macrophages and mobile NK cell, mobilized NK cell. FDA adaptive alpha interferon is used as an antiviral drug against the hepatitis C virus to treat genetic telewards caused by the herpes virus. Okay, thank you so much. I hope it will also will give you some sense about this innate immunity. Okay, thank you. See you next lecture.